Hey everyone, Jake here for American Muscle, and in this video we're taking a look at the Mono SS coilover kit fitting 2015 and newer Mustangs without MagneRide. Whether it's improved handling, a lower stance, or additional adjustability that you're after, the Mono SS coilover kit brings you everything you're looking for one of the best prices in the category. This kit can make your car a stunner at the next meet, the subject of some killer rolling shots, and a willing companion on your next track day without you having to blow out your whole budget. Now the biggest thing to talk about with this kit is the adjustability. Not only are these adjustable for ride height, but they're also adjustable for spring preload, damping, and camber. You've got 16-way adjustable damping, which you can change by twisting the knob right here at the top of the shock, making this an easy change to make on the fly. You can also adjust the spring preload with the included wrenches, though you likely won't need to once you've got things dialed in. Another nice thing to see here are, of course, these adjustable camber plates up front. So whether you're planning to hit the track or not, you can get your alignment dialed in exactly the way you need it to. The springs are also worth noting, as they are going to be stiffer than your stock springs to give you that improved handling and complement the lower ride height. The fronts are 448 pounds per inch, with the rears being 560 pounds per inch, so these are of course going to be stiffer than your factory setup. Now you can always adjust the damping down if you want a more compliant ride out on the street, and that's the beauty of this setup. You get tons of adjustability for a great price, so it makes these a great companion no matter what you're going to do with your car. Now the bodies of the shocks are 52 millimeters in diameter, and they're made from carbon steel that has been anodized for additional protection. You also get lightweight aluminum lower mounts with forged aluminum and carbon steel brackets, and inside the shocks you're going to find race spec oil for consistent performance at any temperature, plus a chromed hardened piston rod up top. You're also going to find Koyo 6204Z bearings and pillow ball mounts for the camber plates and polyurethane bushings at the bottom of the rear shocks. The springs are made from cold wound SAE 9252 steel with that white powder coat over top for some additional protection. The kit also includes new adjustable sway bar end links to help make the most of this upgrade and to compensate for that lower ride height. Pricing comes in at about $1,500, making this one of the most affordable coilover kits on the market. And with all of the adjustability that's built in here, that's a pretty darn good deal. And while these aren't going to give you all of the fancy features of some of the more expensive coilovers, the foundational stuff is all there, and these should get you the look and performance you want for a comparatively low price. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3, and the job should take you about 4 hours to complete. While everything is designed to bolt right into place with no additional modifications needed, there is quite a bit to do, and you're going to need to take some time to adjust everything to suit your preference, so figure on it taking you a little while. And even if you've never messed with suspension components or coilovers before, this is a job that you can tackle at home. And to show you exactly what you've got to do, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a clip removal tool, a 24, 21 swivel, 19, 18, 17, 15, 14, 13, and 10 millimeter socket, a hammer, a 14, 17, and 19 millimeter wrench, a 6 millimeter Allen, a caliper hanging tool, and the supplied Allen key and spanner wrenches, and also not shown be a lift and pull jack. All right, today we're going to be installing some coilovers on our Mustang, so let's get started. All right, so first thing we need to do is get our caliper off of our knuckle. So we have a bolt here, a bolt here. We're gonna grab our impact and 15 millimeter socket, take those two out. Pop those bolts out. We're gonna grab our caliper hanging tool and just hang that up and set that aside. All right, we're just gonna take our rotor off now since it's basically just falling off, a little bit of studs, and set that aside. All right, so we're gonna grab our impact and 18 millimeter socket and take our nut off our sway bar link here. Now we have a 17 millimeter wrench that we're gonna hold the backside with, just because it will spin. Once we get that nut off, we can just pull that back through our strut, let that lean off to the side. So we have our ABS wire attached to our strut here. So we're gonna grab our clip removal tool and pop it off here and here. Pull that aside. Now we can take our two main bolts out of our knuckle. All right, now we're gonna switch to our impact and 24 millimeter socket. We're gonna take our two nuts off of our main bolts here on the knuckle. Now we're gonna leave those threaded on, just thread them off a little bit, just so we're not gonna mushroom the end of the bolt here. Grab your hammer and just tap those bolts through. They are splined in, so they don't just spin out. Once you have them both through, take our nuts off. You can lift up on the knuckle slightly. It might help you get it out a little bit easier. Or just take your hammer, just tap them gently through. All right, just gonna push up on our knuckle here a little bit. That'll loosen them up. Just let that knuckle rest down. And we just have our 3 bolts up top, then we can remove our strut. All right, so we have our 3 bolts up top here. They are all 15 millimeter. So we're gonna take our back 2 completely off first. All right, then as we take our 3rd one off, our strut will fall when you take it off completely. So you're gonna wanna hold the strut from underneath and take that off at the same time. All right, this pulls out from the bottom. Once you have this side out, you can go do the same thing for the other side. All right, so we're gonna disconnect some things at first in the rear here to get our shock and spring out. So first, we're just gonna pop our ABS wire up off of this tab. And then our harness here, there's a clip. We're just gonna use our clip removal tool and pop that out. And then lastly, we're gonna take this 10 millimeter bolt out here, have our impact 10 millimeter socket, and zip that out. That's just gonna give us enough slack and everything so that we can drop this side of the subframe down. So we're gonna start by getting our shock out of the way. So we do have a pole jack just supporting the knuckle so it doesn't drop down. Grab our impact and 18 millimeter socket, take these 2 top bolts out. All right, so I moved our pole jack out of the way. I have it on our subframe, ready to drop that afterwards. But we're gonna take these 2 bottom 15 millimeter bolts out. So impact 15 millimeter socket. All right, so now we can take our shock out of the way. All right, so like I said, I have our pole jack supporting our subframe. We're gonna take these 2 bolts out first. We're gonna grab our impact and 13 millimeter socket. Then we're gonna switch to a 21 millimeter socket and take the main subframe bolt out. All right, now we're gonna come back to the rear of the spring and you'll see your other subframe mount bolt. Same thing, impact, and we have a 21 millimeter swivel socket. Just to get in there a little bit easier. All right, now we're gonna lower our pole jack so we can get our spring out. You can just slowly lower it, and then you can just take it off the pole jack completely, just to get you a little bit of wiggle room. Just pull down on the subframe. You can get your spring and top mount out of the way. Now we got our factory strut out of the way, we need to replace our factory sway bar link. We do have a new front one. So we're gonna take a ratchet with a deep 18 socket, a 17 millimeter wrench, and take that off. Now we're gonna get our new sway bar link installed. So we have our supplied locking nuts. So we're gonna get that through and thread our nut on the back. Then we're gonna use our 6 millimeter Allen wrench to hold the inside stud. You'll see one right there to keep it from spinning. And our 19 millimeter ratcheting wrench to tighten it down. All right, now that that's tightened down, we can get our new coilover in. So now we're gonna get our coilover in place. We have our new top hat with our supplied nuts. So we're gonna get that lined up in the strut top. And thread those on. All right, we're gonna come up top, grab our impact and 14 millimeter socket and tighten those 3 down. Real quick before we get our knuckle back into our coilover, I just want to talk about adjusting. So we have a couple spanner wrenches that we get. If you want to raise or lower the front, you're just going to loosen this bottom nut here. That'll loosen up and you'll be able to spin this in or out. Now I already did that off camera and measured it about 2 inches lower than factory. We'll see where that gets us. With coils, it takes a little bit of time just to get all the height adjustment proper. You might need to take it apart a couple times and just help adjust it. Now for the sway bar link, they are also adjustable. So you just adjust it by spinning this center portion in or out and shorten and lengthen it. Once you have it to the proper height that you want, you're gonna take a 14mm wrench and just tighten those two nuts down at the top and bottom. Just like that. We can get our sway bar link in place and get our factory bolts through our knuckle. Get those through and our nuts on. Get our nuts on the back side of those. Grab our impact and 24mm socket and tighten those two down. Now we have our second nut for the top of our sway bar link. Get that threaded on. So I grab our impact and 19mm socket and tighten that down. That's going to reconnect our ABS wire. So we have our bottom one down here. Just push that in. Now the top one, there's not a new spot on these coilovers to put that. You can put this in the other side of where the sway bar link goes. It's not exactly that tight. If you want to, you can just zip tie it to it. All right, now we can get our rotor back in place and then get our caliper on. All right, now we're gonna get our caliper back in place. So we have our caliper off of our hanger and out of the way. Slide that back over our rotor. Just hand thread in our two 15mm bolts. We're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket and tighten them down. Once you have this side all finished up, you can go to repeat all those same steps on the other side. All right, so we're gonna start by installing our new spring in the back. So you see the wider part will fit into the bottom of the bucket here. Just make sure it lines up with the bottom mount. You'll see where the spring stop ends. And then we have our top portion of our rear coilover. You'll see the adjusters on the top. Just make sure you have this rubber isolator in there and then this plastic. Set that in. We'll set that in place and then we'll bring our subframe up to lock it in place. Now you see this Allen bolt here. We have a supplied Allen wrench. We're just going to tighten that down. Once we have that locked in, that'll just keep this from spinning. Now that we have that in, we can get our shock in. Now that we have our spring in, we can get our bolts back in for our subframe. Get that threaded in. Grab our impact and 21mm swivel socket and tighten that down. And then we have our front subframe bolt with our bracket. Get that threaded in. And then our two 13mm bolts. Get this threaded in first. Grab our impact and 13 and tighten those front two down. And then we'll switch to our 21 and tighten our main bolt down. Now we set to swap over our top mount for our shock. So we'll just pop that cover off, grab our impact and 15mm socket and take that top nut off. Grab our new shock. Slide that over, grab our new locking nut. We're gonna switch to a 17mm socket and tighten that down. Don't forget to put the cap back on. Now we can get this back in the car. So we're gonna set our new shock in place and then get our bolts through. So we're gonna get our factory bolts through the bottom and we have supplied nuts that we're gonna thread on the top. Now this is very tight in here, especially getting that forward bolt. Now to tighten that down, I'm gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket on the bottom, and then a 17mm wrench on the top to hold the nut. All right, so we have our pole jack back under and pushed up our shock into place. We're gonna thread in our two 18mm bolts. Grab our impact and 18mm socket and tighten those two down. So now we just gotta have our ABS wire put back in place, our harness, push that clip in, and then our brake line, just have our 10mm bolt to reinstall. We're gonna grab our impact and 10mm socket and tighten that down. And once you have this side all completed, you can go ahead and repeat those same steps for the other side. And that wraps up our install of our Mono SS coilover kit for a 2015 and newer Mustang without MagneRide. And remember, for everything Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.